Hi there folks, so welcome back to my channel, and for this video what I'm going to be talking about is my novel Ravensrise. So this is the first novel in my Ravensrise Trilogy and it is my debut novel, and it came out, is it 2018 it came out? Just double checking the dates here because yeah, it came out in 2018, so that's been about 4 years, and I am currently working on the sequel, which is called Raven's Fall. The actual main story has been written down. I'm just beating it into shape, trying to edit it, trying to get into getting into shape. I will be kind of passing it. I will be sending it over to a friend of mine when I think it's ready. It's kind of hard for her to check. So that will be the follow up to Ravensrise. And yeah, so I independently published this back in 2018 through what was then called Create Space, which is now no longer going. It's now that was an Amazon company. You now do it through Kindle Direct Publishing, or KDP. So I am an independent author, and I know that you do get people who do talk about and discuss whether to be an independent author, whether to go through more traditional means, and I do think that it is very much a personal choice, and yeah, and it's very much up to what you feel as an author, what works for you. So I will be independently publishing the next two books in the trilogy, and yeah, so it's the whole premise is it is a fantasy trilogy, and it does involve magic. I probably would say that there are kind of influences from different elements of like the fantasy genre. I would say that okay, one of my favourite fantasy writers just now is George R. R. Martin. I'm not too sure if I wouldn't really say that I'm as brutal as he is when it comes to dealing with my characters, but there are certain elements that I would like of how he deals with his stories and the way that he deals with his characters that I would quite like to be able to kind of adapt as a writer. But then again, he does have a very distinctive style, I think. But then again, that's the joy of being a reader and a writer. You'll learn from other writers. So, but anyway, back on to actually talking about the book. So just to kind of give you a wee read of the blurb, just to give you an idea of what the book's about, of what the trilogy is about. A war of magic has raged for years. Rowan, the Lord of Ravensrise, has been fighting to stop those who seek to destroy magic and those who use it. When his path crosses with that of Brenna, both of their lives are changed forever. The happiness that they have found is quickly shattered. Everything that they hold dear is threatened by a shadow from the past. So it is very much a fantasy novel. There is romance in it. Hopefully, I would like to think that even though that is an element of the story, that isn't too off-putting, because I know that romance is one of those kind of elements that does put some readers off. Other readers love it, so hopefully with Ravensrise I have kind of struck a nice balance between like kind of for both sides of the romance fix. And I have to admit, I actually started writing Ravensrise must have been about 9 years ago, because it was at the time my best friend was having a lot of health issues and she wanted to do something to maybe take her mind off what was going on and to kind of give her something to do and to occupy herself with. And at the time, again, I was working as a field archaeologist at the time. I was in and out of work. There were times when I was away then working elsewhere. I was either at home, kind of between jobs, and again looking for something to maybe do. And I was starting to kind of consider or reconsider the whole idea of being a writer, because it was something that even when I was a kid I'd wanted to do. That it was an idea, that it was something that I actually was really interested in as a way of kind of as a kind of job. And yeah, so I kind of decided to give ourselves a challenge of kind of writing essentially kind of segments of a story for each other that essentially we when it first started, it was what I was writing. Both of what we were writing, where it was essentially, I wouldn't really say fan fiction. It wasn't really fan fiction, but it was like both the female characters were definitely self-insert of both of us, and yeah, and it was just a way of kind of, I was writing a story where I was writing for my best friend, she was writing for me, as a way kind of like to as a way to kind of keep ourselves occupied and to kind of give ourselves a laugh. And I think both of us had more or less kind of come to an end of both the stories around about the same time. And I'd kind of like had it all, had bought everything I'd written in a wee kind of folder on my computer, and I just kind of left it sitting there for a wee while, and then kind of went back to it. I think it must have been about a couple of months later, and just started going through it and just going, actually there might be a core of something here. And I got talking to my friend again, told her that that's what I was thinking, and she just went, right, go ahead, go, write it. And yeah, so I just kind of ended up spending what must have been a good few years kind of working through it and developing it and just allowing it to kind of grow and expand and become the novel that it is now. So I think it's nearly 450 pages. It's about just over 440 pages. So yeah, definitely a good size for a debut novel. It's not the biggest or the thickest novel I've ever seen, but yeah. Again, I think with fantasy you are given more kind of more leeway with kind of having more of a word count. But yeah, again, it was a challenge to write, but it was a challenge that I really enjoyed, and yeah, I sort of continue to enjoy because I'm actually still writing the other two books. Yeah, so within the Ravensrise Trilogy there are four main characters, as I've already mentioned from the blurb, but there is already Rowan, who is the Lord of Ravensrise, which is where the title of the trilogy comes from. There's Brenna, and they essentially become one of the two main couples within the trilogy. The other two who make up the other couple are Cara and Warner, and there is like Brenna, Cara and Warner all end up coming to Ravensrise for different reasons, and they all end up playing their part in the war that Rowan has been fighting for a good few years by this point, and they all want to kind of help essentially bring an end to the attempted destruction of magic and destruction of those who use magic. And yeah, so essentially it's kind of Rowan himself doesn't have magic as a character. It's just that he has seen the persecution of those who can use magic. He sees it as being something that is wrong and takes it on himself in order to try and kind of do something right. And he's kind of doing it in secret. He's trying to kind of it's almost like live a kind of double life. And yeah, so hopefully it will be something people will be interested in. It is available on Amazon. I will post a link to where you can buy the book, both paperback and Kindle, in the description bar below. So if you would like to get yourselves a copy, you can buy it from the links in the description bar. Obviously, as I was saying before, I'm currently working on Raven's Fall and Raven's Reborn, which are book 2 and book 3 in the trilogy. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Ravensfall will be out sooner rather than later. I had hoped it would have been out kind of a couple of years ago, but with everything that's happened, with life just generally getting in the way, it has been delayed. So hopefully I will be continuing to work on Ravensfall, and I do have a couple of friends who are willing to help with the editing, with the checking of it, with the beta reading. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be out this year, maybe next year. So touch wood, it'll be out sooner rather than later. So that's a wee kind of quick introduction to Ravensfall, or to Ravensrise, I mean. I probably will try and do a couple of videos of me reading excerpts from Ravensrise. So if you are interested in maybe kind of getting a wee feel for it as a novel, keep your eyes peeled, keep your ears peeled, and yeah, so they'll hopefully be going up at some point. And yeah, so yeah, that's Ravensfall. I don't know why I keep calling it Ravensfall, probably because I was talking about Ravensfall for a while, but that's a wee quick introduction to Ravensrise. So that's a debut novel and the first book in my Ravensrise trilogy. So hopefully you will be intrigued by Ravensrise, and hopefully you will have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.